Okay, we're going to do a quick setup of the ThinkGear ASIC module. This is a NeuroSky EEG sensor. We're going to set this up to 9600 baud rate with a some type of serial port. You could use an Arduino Nano, a Bluetooth, or anything else you got, such as the stuff that I have here. I have a STM32 Blue Pill with an RTS FTDI tool. Got a HC05 Bluetooth module right here, and this actually works pretty good. It's as long as you know how to configure the Bluetooth through the AT command codes and configure these Bluetooth modules. I'll probably have to get into this in another video, but yeah, that's a whole separate thing altogether. The Arduino Nano, obviously that's a pretty popular choice for this project right here. It has a transmit and receive pin already on it, but you can actually also use the software serial libraries on that one, and choose your digital pins to be any type of transmission or receiving portion on that. Now, the ThinkGear ASIC module itself kind of looks like it looks like this. It's we have 6 pins over here. Over to the left on the top right here in the square region right here on this pad. That's our positive voltage right there. Right below it is our ground. So we'll be running at 3.3 volts at a 500 milliamp, small voltage. Usually I would use a Arduino Nano to cut that voltage down, because this has the voltage regulator already built into it. The RS-232, you actually have to configure the setting by cutting the strip off of it and wiring it over to 3 volts instead of 5 volts. You don't want to hook these up to a 5 volt, because it will burn the board and it will cost you money. Usually, like when I first started these projects, they were like $35 for even a generic version, but they were like $70-$80 for the good ones like this. Our NeuroSky right here. Let's take a look at that manual real quick. And this manual, if you do a quick search on the ThinkGear ASIC module and just type in manual, and it's about 5 pages long. It's up there. It's just a PDF you could just download, or you could just read it on your browser. Either way. But we're going to skip ahead to this baud rate function here real quick. And over here in the UART serial output interface, we have a few settings here. We're at 1200, 9600, and 57600 output baud rate. 8 bits parity, none. Stop bit 1. Okay. Remember these settings right here, because you're going to have to set that to our Bluetooth module later on. Configurable options for the noise filter is 50 Hertz and 60 Hertz. I'm using 60 Hertz because I'm in the US, and what this is going to do is if you set these configurations through the receiving pin on the ThinkGear ASIC module, this 60 Hertz, this is just going to block out any noise that will receive from any household items like air conditioners or microwaves or whatever, or television sets and monitors. We're all running on the 60 Hertz range, so that's interference that we can filter out easily just by configuring the settings. All right, let me see here. So we want this set to 9600. So we'll look ahead over here at these schematics and diagrams, and look on down here, and we'll see the view from the top of the board right here. Over to the left, you have your EEG electrode pads right here, along with shieldings, your ground pad, and a reference pad over here on the left. Then right below that, you have TP11, TP12, TP7, TP8, and TP9. We're going to use these ones. We're not using any of these pins 4, 5, 6, and 10. Or we're not going to use TP3, TP2, or TP1. We're going to skip those. And we're only going to use TP12 and TP9. All right. So if we come down to this other setup right here, the physical portion of the board, you'll see this pad right here that says M, and then you have another pad over here that says B0, and then you have another pad that says B1. What we're doing is we're jumping M to B1. All right, and that's going to make our settings on those two pins. We're going to set low, so we're just hooking those directly up to a ground. And here's a reference of how we need the 3.3 volt regulator with the power source, and then our EEG with the shielding on it, right? Okay, so we'll worry about that in a little bit, but we're wanting to set this UART right here with the VCC in the ground. That's voltage 3.3 volts along with the ground, and a transmit and receive. A transmit and receive is our UART that we're sending our serial through. All right, so let's take a look at our physical board right here, and you can see that these pins are really small. They're so small, in fact, that if you end up making a mistake, it's really hard to clean up because they're so close together and they're so tiny that you don't want to have to come back and do these things twice. So here's what I do is I have one that's already pre-wired here. Now I have this mounted onto a wafer board that was that's just for a DIY project anyway. But this is permanently mounted with pins on either side, so I don't have to actually come back and resolder anything because it's already set. All right, now you can notice this orange jumper cable right here. That's actually set to our TP9 and TP12. So all we do is just set a jumper from the TP9 to the TP12. We'll get into soldering here in a few, but right now that's the basic specifications on setting up the 9600 baud rate for this device right here. And then of course we have our power supply, which is positive and negative right below it. All right, 3.3 volts, and then we have an R and a T pin right here. So this is our receiving right here, is what we're going to send data to configure our 50 hertz, 60 hertz thing that we talked about earlier. So I'm going to set my filter by sending a command through the receiving pin right there. The transmission pin right here will hook up directly to some other type of serial port, such as these either the Arduino Nano or the Bluetooth or both, or FTDI tool with the STM32 if we want. But yeah, that's the basic rundown of what we're going to do with that. All right. So yeah, that's a quick introduction of the ThinkGear ASIC module. Is just setting the baud rate. Is probably the hardest part. So the type of soldering iron that I use the TS100, which is a excellent tool that I never dreamed I'd have such a wonderful soldering iron. But I also use liquid rosin solder, and I clean that up with 99% isopropyl alcohol. Usually, this board actually could be a little cleaner, but yeah, I haven't really done a whole lot of maintenance to this board in a little while. But I do have some about 3 or 4 of these projects already going at once, and some of them, this is just a prototype board that I use, and I don't care if I put some miles on it. But we'll make these new ones, we'll make those a little cleaner, and we'll do some soldering on this. So thank you for the quick introduction to the ThinkGear ASIC module and setting up the baud rate there. Yeah, stay tuned for the next video, and we'll get into some soldering, and we'll plug this thing in and see if we're reading at 9600.